guys, welcome back to the breakdown. Today we're going to be talking about 5 things you should consider when buying a used Mac. Before we get into this video, I want to say that it is brought to you by Amazon.com. If you're looking for a refurbished Mac, Amazon is probably one of the best places to get it. To do that, simply go to the breakdown.xyz/AmazonMacs and you will be able to find a full list of refurbished Macs on Amazon. So I'm going to get to the tips of the video in a minute, which are the 5 tips you need to consider when buying a used Mac, but I do also want to mention a couple things before we start. First things first, check the generation of the computer you're buying. Additionally, the best time to buy a used Mac is right when a new generation comes out. And the reason for this is simple. The price of the generation that you're looking at is going to go down. Supply is going to increase, demand is going to decrease, which means that's going to take the price down. The best time frame I have found to buy a used Mac, however, is about 2 years old, because that keeps it within 1 year of AppleCare. If it was purchased originally with the computer, it should still have 1 year left of the 3-year AppleCare, which means replacements are going to be easier and cheaper. And additionally, if there isn't AppleCare on the computer, it's still new enough to where Apple or any third party will be able to work on it and keep it cheap. This is going to keep your costs low, your repair costs are going to be much lower than a very old Mac, and it's going to be a lot easier to replace the parts. So let's go ahead and jump into the 5 tips you need to consider when buying a used Mac. The first one is check the generation. As I said a few seconds ago, the best thing you can do is buy a Mac that is a couple years old. So to do this, go ahead and check the generation of the Mac that you're buying. You can do this by getting on the Mac and clicking the Apple logo in the top left-hand corner and clicking About This Mac. This is going to show you quite a lot of information about the Mac, but what it's really going to do is show you what year the Mac came out. Tip number 2 is check the specs. Again, all you have to do is go to the Apple logo and click About This Mac, and you're going to be able to see all of the details about the Mac. You're going to be able to see what specs it has, such as RAM and storage on the computer. Tip number 3 is check for physical damage. I bought a MacBook a couple years ago that had a tiny bit of physical damage on it near the Apple logo. It had a hairline scratch in it. It was nothing big, but I was able to use that to talk down the price of the computer. Truthfully, if it's not going to affect the use of the computer, it's not really that big of a deal. However, from the seller's standpoint, you can argue that it brings down the value of the computer, which it does. So use that to your advantage if you do find anything wrong with it, but if it's anything major, walk away. Tip number 4 is check it out for a few minutes. Test it out, play around with it, see if it's fast enough, see how they've treated the computer, and if it has a fresh OS on it, that's a good sign that they know what they're doing. Additionally, when you're playing with it, make sure that you test the trackpad and test the keyboard. Now, if it's an iMac, it's probably not a big deal if the keyboard is a little messed up. You can get a keyboard from Apple or any third party, and it's going to not be that expensive to fix. However, if the keyboard or trackpad on a MacBook is messed up, that is a big concern that you should have. If it makes the computer unusable, like I said earlier, walk away. However, if it's just a little frustrating but you think you could deal with it by using another keyboard or mouse with the computer, go ahead and continue with the purchase if it's what you want. Additionally though, use that to talk down the price of the computer. It's really going to help you out in the long run. Tip number 5, which is our last tip for buying a used Mac, is to ask about the warranty. Odds are when they bought the computer, they were sold up to buy AppleCare, which is a 3-year warranty for the computer. However, if they didn't, they had only a 1-year warranty on that computer with 90 days phone support. I actually have an entire video on what AppleCare is and how you can use it to your advantage. Go ahead and check that video out. It's right up here, but you can also click down in the description below. When you're buying a used Mac, it's a good idea to consider one that's still under warranty, because it's going to keep the cost of repairs down quite a bit. However, if you're buying a Mac that's 3 years old and the warranty is outdated, but it is in great condition, that's still okay because they're not that expensive to repair. However, if there's screen damage, keyboard damage, trackpad damage, or any other physical damage on the computer, I would recommend being careful about buying that MacBook, or any other Mac for that matter. Anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. Like I said earlier, it was brought to you by Amazon.com. To view a list of refurbished Macs, you can go to the link in the description below. Thanks for watching this video guys, and I will see you next time.